There we go. All right. Hi, Scanian. Yeah, I haven't used this as my background since I was running Chroma Company, Delport. So I am refreshed, and now it is time to go through. It's time to go through or over our workshop content for the night. This is another bread and butter presentation that we have put on for quite some time. A year one of Hero Zone exercise. And even for some of you who've seen this before, I always hope that by seeing it done again with a different group, it not only reinforces the themes, it reinforces the methodology and the thinking, but it's still just as entertaining to see the process play out in front of you. And if you're completely new to the party as a character, then, well, let's show you what I mean. Because a party has a character sheet. May I find this character sheet somewhere, some way, somehow? Well, it's made up, and it's an easy one to make up. To all right, be well. Congrats on the win, Hero Dragon. Okay, yeah. Well then, errands for both of you, and cheers to you both. But a lot of what I do, it doesn't require anything that's really proprietary. And these are documents that you can download off of our Discord for free. They're not paywalled or anything. Yeah, Delport. Yeah. All right, Heretic. Yep. Y'all lurk as you got to. Now, this is an exercise that will benefit both DMs and players, as it's going to show both sides of the screen. It's going to show both sides of the screen what the concept of the group is. Are there particular boundaries to constrain or confront them, or to act as a springboard into something? Now, as you can see here, the way that I have it set up could be wildly different from the concepts that you might take an interest in. We did not name our characters, but what we're going to do is we're going to say that we have Gladiator. Gladiator has a strength of 10, a dex of 15, a con of 9. And by the way, would this probably work better in something like Excel or some other calculator sheet? Absolutely. I have it this way. I just always have. And I could convert that at some point, I'm sure. But I wanted to make sure I kept something that was bright and readable. And sometimes Excel, it might seem complicated or scary for people, but a word processing document isn't as much. So that's another way that you can look at the formatting to this. And our saving throw proficiencies are passive perception is 11. Passive investigation. And the reason why I'm using investigation and not insight, you can have a passive insight for sure. And maybe you want to add that to your list. but there is a feat that mentions specifically passive investigation. So I figured if we put it on here, it's a way for us to talk about that as a redundancy, or if we have a character whoever took that feat, we can show the enhancement to it. All right. Now we come over to our researcher. We're going to have to say that this is the... Is that researcher? I guess we'll just put Sage. That works. All right, Sage tab. We have 11. We have 12. We have 14. We have 16. We have 8. And we have 18. And we have a proficiency in Con and Cha. So we're going to go CN, CH. Passive perception is 9. Passive investigation is 13. And our hit points, we have 79 with a 14 AC. We're going to come down here to our noble. Our noble has a 14, 8, 14, 10, 16, and 12. We are proficient in wisdom and charisma. Passive perception is a nice 15 and a passive investigation of 10. We come over to hit points and we have oh, you know what? This is Rez's nephew's character. I'm like, when did we make a noble? Anyway, let's keep going. Whoops, hold on. By that, I mean pirate. Pirate in with a 13, 16, 10, 14, 16, and 10. Our proficiencies were strength and dex. Passive perception is 17. Passive investigation is 12. There we go. That's a little bit better. We have 58 hit points, and we're coming in strong with 16 AC. And then lastly, our final character of the party was the Outlander. I guess we'll just do this. We have the Olander. That still takes up a lot of space. Oh, there, that works. The Olander. And Olander here has a 19, a 12, a 16, an 8, a 14, and a 12. Our saves are strength and con. Our passive perception is 12, and our passive investigation is 9. However, our hit points are 103, and our AC is 16. Now, we don't have a fifth member of the party, and that's fine. Nautical Acquisitions and Redistribution Specialist. Thank you. That is the formal title. Yeah, religion is a knowledge skill in that regard. Medicine has been wisdom, because it's not just the medicinal knowledge of treating a wound. There's the gut feelings of wounds and sickness, how a person, is conveying themselves, a feeling of how they look. That more of a very gut instinct about their guts, but also medicinal is it could be psychological. So a lot more about feelings and things. I don't know when editions might have moved that around. Now, we could just stop here and say, all right, I get where this is going. Because now we can both sit back as the party members and the DM and say, all right, this is for sure going to be a thing. And we can start seeing where some of the strengths and weaknesses of the party lie. In fact, if we do a quick calculation here, hold on a moment, I have my calculator. Let's use our green line to add things up. In fact, this is why a spreadsheet actually might be pretty cool. I'll have to, when I get the time to actually sit back and make one here. But let's just take a look at what the totals would be. And you'll see why I'm doing this as well. We go 15, 12, 16, 12. Then we go 9, 14, 10, 16. Then we go 14, 16, 14, 8. We come down here and we have 13, 8, 16, 14. And then we have 14, 18, 10, and 12. And we can see that Constitution is our weak. Oh no, Constitution's our weak spot. But what can this inform you as a cue to what you can include in your story to challenge the characters? What can this tell you as party members to say, well, I think I see where we're going to have to shore up our defenses over the course of whatever journey we're going to go on? And over here, you could give a count where we have 2 strength, 2 charisma, 2 con, 1 dex, and 1 whiz. And so if you wanted to list out the totals and other things, you could do that here. Our passive perception, you can add up and get an average if you wanted, or you could just bring the totals down and see there, but that's a little bit different than seeing which of 6 stats. But as we look, we see an 11, 9, 17, and 12. We don't necessarily have a super perceptive group. At least not naturally perceptive. And remember, each of these characters were built individually as their own people. So we didn't get together and do, well, is someone playing the tank? No, I didn't want to. I guess I will. Does anyone have perception? You do? Well, I guess we need someone with a backup perception. I'll take perception. I mean, how many of us have ever played a character like that or have been in a group like that? Where your character is more the result of vague notions of the group and maybe not his or her own standalone character. And then we look at AC and we go 14, 14, 16, 16. We're level 11. Huh. All right, so we're probably going to be a little easier to hit. And con is also a weak point. What's going on? So where do we need to watch out how we approach situations as a group? Or as the DM, I know just how I can put pressure on them. But also, let's just take a look and let's just take a look and continue to measure the characters by let me close this out. Okay. Other things they're proficient at doing. So if we come over here, we have athletics. We're going to come back to our gladiator. Let's see. We have acrobatics, so we're going to put a G here. We have history, G. We have insight. And we have performance. Okay, cool. What about our researcher, our sage? We have Arcana, S for sage, history, religion, and insight. Now let's go over to our pirate, who has athletics, acrobatics, history, and perception. And then lastly, we have our outlander, who has athletics, animal handling, survival, and intimidation. Okay. Now, what did we just do here? And none of these are expertise, so we're not going to give it any extra formatting. Well, we know that not that we don't have perceptive, anyone can make perception, but for sure, we do not have party members who are proficient in these skills. So we're going to color code them red. Now, if you or someone in your party has color blindness and you want to do this exercise, you can come up with something else that will work with you all. But here we have an X and we're using red to show that there is no proficiency in these skills. And in fact, if we want, we could just highlight. We could highlight this entire area here. That way we can see. There we go. Now we do have at least one person who can give us some coverage in intimidation, performance, survival, and I'm using yellow here. It's caution. Not that you can't proceed with it, though the party is going to be relying on this person for this skill. Now we do see that we have two, and we're going to give green is the go-ahead. Oh, shoot, that's right. Why does that get eaten up? Do I have a... you know what? Do I have like a green screen filter on? Either that or it's just it's a green that for some reason just is not working. I guess we'll make it more of an olive color. That'll have to work for now. Anyway, it should be green, but for one reason or another, it's not. So we're going to go with like an olive or like a drab green. So green is go. We have a backup. We have redundancy. If something happens to pirate, we know that Outlander can make athletics checks for the party. And then over here, we have 3 or more. This has depth. Sky's the limit. Let's give it blue. We're a bright blue like the sky because we have 3 party members who can perform this with proficiency. Now we have a written and visual cue as to how our party can perform over the course of the story, at least as they are. This might direct one of them when they hit level 12 to say, you know what, I'm going to take the skilled feat so that I can become proficient in 3 skills that are hopefully relevant to that character and the journey he or she's been on, but also that you could approach it from the point of view of, you know what, we really need to round out what we're bringing to the table. They're really into history. Yeah. Now you can do similar things here with party languages. So if we go aside from common, members of the party can speak Gnomish, and you can do this party member by party member, or if you just want to make a pile of what everyone can speak, we have Infernal times 2. Also, she can take 2 extra languages that we haven't chosen yet. That's our second Infernal, and then we have Draconic and 1 other. And then we go this, and this. And these, if you leave them hanging, could be very good questions to ask your DM and say, you know, given where we live, would we be able to speak each other's languages? Or the researcher might say, is Gnomish an important research language for inventors, for people who are in a particular craft? And in that instance, if the DM says, yes, in fact, I'm going to treat Draconic like our Latin, and I'm going to treat Gnomish like Greek, all of a sudden, those are going to be our languages of science. And in that case, not only do we, we have party members who can speak among each other, and if not, if they said, well, if the DM says, well, you're actually traveling through Dwarven lands, well, one of them should probably take Dwarven in that case, if it matches with that character. Again, I was bringing this back to her being a researcher. how can we tie the languages she speaks? Was her dead colleague a dwarf or a gnome? Or because we have Draconic and Gnomish acting as Greek and Latin, these are the languages of science, and of course she's going to be able to speak them. And if we do that, and let's do that, Gnomish and Draconic, all of a sudden, Gnomish goes to 2, Draconic goes to 2, and we have one other floating language that can be spoken, and that's by our Dragonborn. Now, we have a tribal marauder. We have someone who is raised by kobolds out in the wilds. What if in this world, I do agree languages should be affected by backstory. I do agree with that, Goblin. If we have been raised by kobolds, and maybe that's where we're getting Draconic. In fact, you could even say Draconic, but it's, it's kobold accented Draconic, which might be some differences like between Spanish and Portuguese. Yeah, they're both Romantic languages, and they're in 2 countries that are bordered with each other, but there are differences between Portuguese and Spanish. They can kind of understand most of what each other say, but there's going to be different words and inflections. One thing means one thing, the other means another. What if in this instance, we actually have dwarves? What if dwarves are actually more of a feral people? They're more of they're a caveman Unga Bunga style. You get, they don't have these advanced societies of technology. They have strength and endurance, but they're very much just an Unga Bunga people. And in this case, if we were raised out in the wilds, maybe we learned to speak the language of our enemies, friends, or even frenemies. Because maybe in this setting, the dwarves and the kobolds actually have, it's the classic mammals, short mammals versus short reptiles, sort of a thing. And so for reasons of our reasons here, while no one else in the group speaks Dwarven, we can, or like he can as a character. So we know dwarves exist and they have a particular function in this setting. And we have someone who can actually translate what is going to be happening with the party to the dwarves, or the other way around. Hi, Grogrin, also. So we can add Dwarven here now. What about the party tool use? We can use Tinker tools. No tool use. Navigators, tools, vehicles, and water vehicles. So, nav. I'm just going to put boats, water vehicles. And Veal ×2. Not because it was randomly rolled that our pirate plays the Veal, as does our Outlander. And so in this case, there's a story here. There's a story meant to be told. As well as glassblower's tools. Hopefully this makes sense. Because now we can sit back both as the party and the DM and say, you know what? I can come up with some really good challenges for the party where they can use their skills to overcome a challenge or to lean into a creative solution to a problem. Now, if you want to come down here for roles, this one's a little loosey-goosey, and it really depends on how do you quantify any of these things. But roll with me for this. We have Gladiator. Gladiator class, we have a cleric fighter multi-class. So what are the qualities of this cleric fighter? Well, for sure, we can heal. So we are a healer as a role quality to this character. We are capable of healing. And we didn't go through, we didn't go through the cantrips or give 8 more spells. But we have Guardian of Faith, Wall of Fire, Daylight. We do have Fireball and Flaming Sphere. So we can deal magical damage. So we'll put ranged / magic damage. We can also melee. We are a dual wielder. So we can also melee. We're not very tanky, however. We are, however, well, no one's really like a skill monkey. I don't necessarily think that... Is he the face of the party? I don't think he's the face. So not face, not skill monkey, but we do have someone who can heal, who has ranged and magic damage, and who can melee. In this case, we are maybe a generalist. Might be a good way to also summarize the role in the party. But as you can see, these aren't hard and fast, or like they don't have an actual mechanical description. We're just trying to list qualities of the characters for more comparison. So next up, we have Sage. Sage is a sorcerer. As a sorcerer, we are a ranged magic damage dealer. We are not a healer. We do have a high charisma. Now, we're not particularly... we have a general charisma. In that case, it's really... You know what? Gladiator might end up being the face, if only because he does have performance. It'd be tough. Because we do have a generalist face, but we have someone who can perform well. I don't know. In this case, we have a higher than not, because if we add it up, that's 4, 10. We have 12 among all the modifiers, and with our sorcerer, we have 16. So you know what? I'm gonna say that she is the face of the party. She's also the brains of the party. Look, she has 3 proficiencies and a high intelligence. So she's face and brains and can deal ranged / magic damage. She's also a linguist, or the translator. Oh, Crusader, hello, but also goodbye as you lurk. Now, let's look at our pirate. Our pirate is a monk. We are absolutely melee. We are also a speedster. We're highly mobile. Horizontally and vertically. We're also a battlefield controller because of the magical key effects that we took. What he's able to do can push people around, fill sails. We have also the pilot of we have the pilot or the captain of the group, the travel specialist. He is also the lookout. In fact, because of the magic fists, we can even say magic melee. Magic melee, we're going to call this... Not like ranged might imply mundane. I don't think our sage really carries a crossbow. So we're gonna say ranged magic, magic melee because of the fists, and that might be good. I don't know if we're necessarily... would we be like a utilitarian? We do have some generally high... I don't know. In our final one, we have our Outlander. Who is a fighter. Our qualities are... unless we wanted to give him... a magic weapon. We know that we're melee. Not so much ranged. We can attack with range. But we are melee. We are also a battlefield controller because of our battle master. Our battle master-ness. And we are definitely the brawn. We are the tank, and we are the brawn of the group. Now, you think the monk is an all-rounder, Grogrin? Time to lurk and head to sleep. All right, have a good night, Kragar. So what you can see here, and we can also like fiddle back and forth. But by doing this, we have a general idea of what the individual members are going to be considered. And this allows them, as the players, to hem and haw a little bit and say, okay, yeah, I see, here's this, here's an ability for us to team up. Here's possibly a rivalry. To add a little bit of roleplay tension. This also shows that there's no one who's really proficient at being a non-magical ranged user, if that is important as a quality. And we only have one healer in a group that has a pretty low con. Compared to everything else. So not only do we have low hit points, we have someone who is who the healing is bottlenecked upon. We don't even have someone who is trained in medicine. Now this could indicate that the party is going to want to buy potions, perhaps potions or scrolls. And as the DM, this is a good way to look at how you can challenge the group. So these are different ways that you can arrange the information that we have created about our characters. And this is our party character sheet. We do in a sense have stats, and we have our skills. If you want, you can list out feats, you can list out other things. I wanted to put down party tools because that can help with puzzles, riddles, or other challenges. Languages could be useful. And there's other ways that you can take the information from the individual character sheet and distill it. Now, I would also recommend, because there's always a catch, there's always more, right? That you make what is called a SWOT report. A SWOT report is something that you do see a lot of in, it is what you see a lot of in business. It stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. That is SWOT, S.W.O.T. Your strengths and your weaknesses are internal to the organization. They're calling from inside the house. It is a part of that structure. It is inherent to it. Opportunities and threats, however, are external. I commonly use a lemonade stand as a lemonade stand in the summertime as an example. And the example for that is a strength you have as a summertime lemonade stand is you're an adorable kid. And adults tend to want to, hey, you know what? It's 25 cents for some lemonade. You're a cute kid. Here you go. Here's a quarter, and I'll take my cup of lemonade. That is a strength. A weakness might be you're a kid. And if someone steals from you, they'll just push you over, take your jar of money, and run away because you most likely have no weapons, nor can you really do much besides just report to the police that someone shoved you and took your thing. So your weakness is that you are weak. Another weakness would be you don't have a lot of money. So everything is going to be done by hand. It's going to take a lot of time. And it's going to look amateur. Despite your best wishes to say, no, I want to have the best lemonade stand ever. So as a kid selling lemonade, we have our strengths and our weaknesses. So the weakness might also be because we don't have a lot of money. We got to sell off-brand lemonade instead of a major one. Now, what about an opportunity or a threat? Well, the same kid, right? Change nothing else about the kid selling lemonade, has an opportunity that is external to her or him if the lemonade stand is moved to a highly foot trafficked area. Hang on a second. My headset died out. So the opportunity would be if the kid lives in a walkable neighborhood and or an affluent neighborhood, that is an opportunity to sell a lot more lemonade than if you set up like a 13-year-old set up a lemonade stand on the side of the highway where no one can stop. You get a lot more traffic on the highway, but no one's stopping for your lemonade. Now, a threat, you're selling lemonade during the summer. And let's say that this lemonade stand is down in Florida. an external threat to your organization is going to be thunderstorms that roll in, even quickly, right? The weather could be a threat and a threat and externality to your lemonade stand. I hope that makes sense in what SWOT measures, and you can even see why or how this is used in business, especially when you're making a business report or you want to try and pursue funding from a loan from a bank or something, because you have to address this. You have to be forthcoming with this so the banker can look it over, ask you questions, and even challenge you, so that they're not giving the money to someone who's never really thought about these things. Raspberry scented clean bean heretic trance, that smells delicious. Raspberry is very yummy. Let's take a look at our party then. What is a strength? And all of you out in chat, Goblin Gaxanor, Grogrin, Heretic, Craigar went to bed, Gcants, Delport, Scanian, GMV. Who else is lurking out there? The two dragons have gone off on errands. Mana Buns, if you're out there, Coffee Cat. Again, thank you for those gifted subs, Coffee. That was really solid of you. Bagger, what would be some strengths of this party? Lurking. Who would? I don't know, Daily. Could be anyone. Well, for sure, I think history. History is a strength. There is a low likelihood of them failing any history-based checks. Yeah, strength? Well, strength, I don't know. We have a 10, 11, 13, and 19. Really, it's only the one party member who's carrying pretty much everyone, and actually is literally carrying everyone else. So strength, I don't know if strength is a strength. Physical skills. Well, athletics and acrobatics in that regard, I would say yes. Not sleight of hand or stealth. But yeah, I think we can put, athletics, acro. If we look at our save proficiencies, 2 strength, 2 con, 1 dex. The party for physical saves is pretty set. If we look at the party, right? And this is a party SWAT. They can strong-arm enemies away so everyone can study history. Oh, it's not a tool, but we did say that our gladiator is a singer, and the weapons make sound as well as are used to fight. We actually would have a strength when it comes to music, as we have a singer and a musical performer, and then we have our one of our tieflings and our dragonborn both can play the viol pretty well. So sea shanties or just music, I think we have a strength when it comes to musical things. And you might even be able to argue that she may not necessarily be able to play music, at least non-magically. She can interact with it through thaumaturgy and maybe other spells that she takes. The trinket, which was a letter concerning something by a dead colleague, was a white sequined glove. So of course the Michael Jackson references, flowed. But in some way, she might be musically inclined. Um, in other ways, if not purely magically, then through her research. But she takes an academic approach to music. Now we can go on, and we can use our SWOT report as a redux of all this. If we come down to weaknesses, we can 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We can put as a weakness. There are 7 non-proficient skills in the party. And sleight of hand and stealth, I guess you presumably could always stealth. When it comes to passives, no one, not even our brain, is exceptionally good at investigation. And you might even be able to say, when it comes to the charisma skills, not that you can't accomplish things with intimidation or performance, but I guess the solid or the bigger 2 charisma skills don't have anyone who's proficient in them. But we can definitely put, we are not investigators. Which means that as a storyteller, well, that could be part of the challenge that you can put in front of your players. Is that there is going to be an investigation going on. They're going to have to go about it in a different way than by just hard rolling investigation checks. Yeah, low social skills. Sorry, my cat is down here and he wants attention and says, "You know what'll get his attention? Yeah, biting his foot." Can I help you, sir? Hi. Now, what are some opportunities? What are some opportunities for this party? We don't have a full breakdown of the settings, so like saying, well, a Florida storms or whatever, right? Or an affluent neighborhood to sell lemonade. What is something external you think would be a great opportunity for this party to lean into? I think because we have a bevy of languages, as well as someone who knows how to get around on land with our Outlander and on the water with our pirate. And even someone who knows where major institutions or sources of knowledge or learning are, landmarks. And then we have someone here with his background features of by popular demand for fighting areas. I think our opportunities are in traveling, for sure. This party is going to be very good for traveling. Ruins exploration, the party's basically the crew of an Indiana Jones movie. Tutoring, translating, guiding. So traveling and academics. We don't have anyone who was trained in nature. So that's the only knowledge. The closest might be the Outlander, but int is his dump stat. So what this could lead to or mean, what if this is exploring an unknown territory? So you can take concepts, but no one really knows what this particular plant or animal is. Or everything has been fairly urban for most of the characters except the Outlander. But even then, well, I don't know. Nature could just be the threat, honestly. Let's look at it that way. What is an externality? Nature. We have someone who can survive it with the Outlander, but everyone else, the sage, needs society and civilization. The gladiator needs a civilization for his faith and for his performance of professional wrestling, kind of a thing. Our pirate needs ports of call, needs it needs those other things, as well as to find to go out and to find this this fountain of youth, because he is venerable at 88. This is probably going to be his last adventure if he can't attain that wholeness of body by completing himself. So everyone except the Dragonborn really has needed to be around others in society. So nature / isolation are going to be threats to this group. Ancient dungeons with lots of traps and some musical puzzles. Finding the best myths and legends for treasure leads. A tour bus operation. Yeah, everyone get in the giant wagon. We're gonna take you on an educational field trip. What are you doing? Oh, right, I see. The cat's being weird, but there's nothing. He's a cat, right? Some other threats here. Now, another big threat to the party. Lawful good. Now, I know this is a oversimplification of personalities through alignment, but bear with me with the idea. Lawful good, chaotic evil, lawful evil, neutral good. We have huge conflicts of personality. We have huge conflicts of personality or procedure. A threat to this, party cohesion, Jenny. Party cohesion can be a threat to this party. But hopefully you get the idea now that we've taken a look and we have distilled the mechanical information from the characters, and we have our party character sheet. Here's our stats, just like we have our stats here. And now here is our background page, where we write in additional features and traits, character backstory, other things like that on our second page, where we talk about this, where we go and we look at it a little bit more conceptually and say, all right, well, those are glaring weaknesses for sure. I think we should stick with what we're good at. And the DM says, oh, of course. And I know exactly how I'm going to challenge you when the time is right. But this is giving you now a look at the party as its own character, as the sum of its parts. Maybe even something that is greater than the sum of its parts in that regard. The character's individual alignments were lawful good, chaotic evil, lawful evil, and neutral good. Now, again, those are very, there's a lot more nuance to a character than just their alignment. But if we go off of alignments as a trend, as a notion, a direction, we see conflicted directions, if nothing else. It doesn't mean, in fact, we talked about this at length. Our chaotic evil researcher is not the type of woman who's going to burn down an orphanage and kick a puppy in the street. That's not the type of chaotic evil, and she's definitely not chaotic stupid. She is just very self-centered, and her goals come before everyone else. She's impulsive, and she is very selfish. It does not necessarily mean she's going to kill someone for looking at him wrong, burn down the orphanages, and kick the puppies for being chaotic evil. But her way is different than the others, for sure. I guess when I GM, says GM's Vault, alignment only really matters to religious characters. Yeah, and there might be some things where the alignment is a mechanical part of the character. If it comes down to a distilled notion or just a damage type or a qualification to wield a weapon, you must have a good heart or a black heart to be able to do something because the magic knows. Or we're talking about, you know, these cosmic or elemental distillations of these concepts. So I do agree, GMV. Scannion says, but she would sacrifice the party to achieve her ends. That is probably in the long con in some way, Scannion. Betraying the party probably would be on the table. The thing is, even if someone is chaotic evil, they may want to still actually live life. Yeah, not many people wake up in the morning and say, I am a bad guy and I'm going to do bad guy things. A villain is a hero in his own story. So she's not waking up and going, yes, good. Yes, I'm going to kick all of the puppies. That is the focus of my research. I can kick puppies from 30 feet away unerringly. I call this spell Mastiff Missile. Now, are there people who wake up and go, yes, I am bad. I am a bad person. I am evil, and I'm going to do evil things. Of course, they're psychos. They are psychopaths. She is probably more sociopathic than psychopathic. Well, and the somatic component is actually just kicking the material component, Grogrin. It's a very simple spell. It's sort of like the spell Detect Fire, Range Touch. But even if we don't go off of the classic 9 as a hard and fast thing itself, it is for sure going to be a conflict of personality in the party. Goblin of Gygaxanor, your garden pathic. I hope it's a lovely path, though. Well, not necessarily, Scannion. I'm used to helping out those who aren't as smart as I am, and I patiently explain anything and everything to others. It is my duty to protect my students. So she probably, like Meatloaf, she would do anything for love, but she would not do that. The pirate? I don't know if the pirate would sacrifice the kids. he has a methodology. He has his goal, and he is direct and blunt and gruff about it, probably in part because he's 88 and has one peg leg in the grave. He's going to be very selfish, but I don't think he's necessarily the type who's going to like sacrifice kids to a pagan god kind of a thing. The way I conceptualize the less wholesome alignments to players is that the person is so focused on their goals, ideas, or pleasures that they are willing to cause harm if it's needed. Not that the character is gleefully cruel. Yeah, that they're at least willing or more willing to do it, if not just be open to the, like, yes, it is always, violence is a golden standard. Everyone can understand violence, no matter how literate you are, how much you know math or science. Everyone understands the fist, the club, and violence. So how golden are you with that as the option? Now, conversely, and Scannion, this is what's interesting. We have this neutral good character, but this neutral good character isn't the Superman who's going to save everyone. His flaw is, don't expect me to save those who can't save themselves. Now, will he rush into a burning building and save the children? Probably, because he doesn't expect the women and children first kind of a thing, right? When you're abandoning ship. Now, our pirate might, it depends. Is his code of the sea, he might actually follow the code of the sea, and despite his dire need to live, still follow this code of women and children first into the lifeboats. Here, we have this neutral good character who will go and save the women and the children, but for different reasons than our lawful evil pirate would. Don't expect me to save those who can't save themselves. It is nature's way that the strong thrive and the weak perish. Goblin of Gygaxanor, this is 224. You gotta catch up with the times. This is the year 224. Come on now. Well, consider a person who has disregard for the law and mostly takes care of their own personal interest at the expense of others. What if this person becomes a world leader? Asks Gcans. Bagger says, just so you know, if the ship is sinking, I'll identify as both women and children. So you know what? That reminds me of I just watched it recently. Who was the assistant to the Lake Town Master? Who did that? Oh shoot. You know who I'm talking about from the Hobbit movies? It was like the toady to the Lake Town Master. You reminded that reminded me of that character. But so we have someone here who is a generally good person. However, if he believes that you should save yourself, the Grima Wormtongue is the toady to Saruman. I'm talking about the very similar role toady to the Master of Lake Town. I think he had his name was George or something. It was kind of a common name, if I recall. Now, would he still? Probably, maybe. But in general, he's not there to to save people that he believes can save themselves. As well, he believes it's each person's responsibility to make the most happiness for the whole tribe. You should be contributing to the tribe as well. You know, there's no handouts. Everyone hunts, everyone brings back for the tribe, but you also have to save yourself in the dire times, right? Also, I place no stock in wealthy or well-mannered folk. Money and manners won't save you from a hungry owlbear. So we have a good character who actually is going to be acting rather crass. Evil? Maybe not evil, but more in what might be a stereotypically evil presenting character of not caring about everyone or others as much as others in that person's judgment. So we have a wonderful mix of personalities in this party. There's a lot to explore, though I think that means there's going to be a lot of conflict. Alfred, there we go. Bagger, that's cool. It. His name was Alfred. That was it. And it's Tio Most Frio. Let's go indeed, my friend. Thank you very much. Can I get from all of you? Can I get some let's go in chat for Tio Most Frio? If you type let's go, all capital letters, no apostrophe, no space, LETSGO, let us go. Well, hopefully this makes sense, and this is something you can think about for any games that you're playing through. Now, I'm going to get up and take a little bit of a break. I need to refresh myself. And when I come back, we are going to do the same thing but different with a party comparison sheet. We're not going to have the mechanical parts of the characters on display. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, I suppose you're going to have to stick around a little bit longer, or you're watching this on YouTube. Hi, YouTube! And also, I'll see you in the next video.